Hi guys, it's Laura. I'm going live in my with my Freedom Fashion members in about 20 minutes. So I'm just doing a quick video to talk to you guys about paintbrushes. And this goes out to a fashion tribalista. Hi, Erica, Rachel, Erica, Rachel. Wait, I know your name. Hi. All right, let's go. I'm going to show you some stuff about paintbrushes. And I'm going to flip it around, but I wanted to show my face first so we can connect. Hello. All right, here we go. So, misconceptions is you don't need Rachel. All right, I had a feeling. Sorry. Never forget the top of your head. Okay, so here I want to talk to you briefly about paintbrushes. Just enough. There's not a lot you need to know. And this is like a common misconception. We often think that if we have like 100 paints or 100 brushes, we'll be better off than if we just have one or two. And it couldn't be further from the truth. Having less colors and less brushes literally can give you so much more focus and so much more ability. It's actually better to start with less. And because I see my cousin is on here, I'm going to mention that my grandfather, my mom always says, he always used to say, you know, it's all about having good supplies. And the other thing is, good supplies don't always have to be expensive. They just have to be good. And you need to like get your sense of what's good down. And then you'll know when an inexpensive supply is junky or good. I hope I'm making sense. Okay, I always get all fired up and then I get off the topic. So here's a bunch of brushes. I just said you don't need a bunch of brushes, right? So I'm going to show you, you really only need one of these. But what I want to tell you for fashion illustration is that all of these brushes are round, which means the barrel is round. My camera angle, okay, that's here. It's round and it's pointed. Now, when they're wet, you can really see that they're pointed. But when they're dry, and if they're a little bit old, you know, they don't look so hot. But once you wet them, they're going to change. Okay. And one of the big things that comes up a lot in my classes, when I used to just say, you know, get a sable brush. You know, sable brushes can be like 50 bucks. But a lot of people are coming in with sable brushes that were just really junky. Now, you don't have to get a $50 brush. But what I'm saying is they would come in with these brushes that literally they would wet them. I'm just going to wet this brush, for example. This is a good brush, though, a really good one. This is one of the pricier ones. But they would wet the brush, and when they would go to use it, it would bend, and it would literally stay bent. Have like no body at all. Now this is a good one. I don't have any bad brushes because I couldn't manage my life if I had bad brushes hanging around. But one of the key things that I know is in a good brush is that when I pull it down, not only is it round and pointed, you really only need one of those, okay? When I press it down, it springs back up. And the problem my students were having, so many of them were getting these sable style brushes where when you push it, it just stays there. You cannot work that way. So they got to spring back a little. This is synthetic. This is super inexpensive, but super fabulous. This is the, oh, what? I don't remember buying this at all, but it's a good brush. It's a Creo. That's so weird. I usually know my brands. I usually get the Utrecht. This is in the kit that we use in Freedom Fashion. Okay, and you can get an 8 or a 10. The reason we use 8 or 10, the thing is, it really just depends on the size of your paper. Oh my gosh, wait. This one has been cut by my toddler. That shouldn't be there. There was a time when she cut into a bunch of my brushes. This is also round and pointed. Okay, this one, the Princeton Catalyst, is so stiff that it almost feels like a magic marker when I use it. I literally have to, sorry about my nails, I literally have to apply force to push this down. I'm literally using my muscles. Now, some people are going to like that. Some people are not going to like that. Okay, watch the difference when I go to push. Let me pick another one. This one. No muscle required at all. By the way, that's kind of cool. You can create sprinkles. We don't do that often in fashion, but if you think about it, that could be really good for like a sequin or a sparkle effect, huh? Okay, because that brush was wet. Okay, but the reason we want a round pointed brush is so that you can get very thin lines to very thick lines in a single brush. I mean, how awesome is that? So expressive. So, and the reason I say size 8 or 10 is because size 8 or 10 really enables me to make like, hang on, that wasn't wet enough. If I'm doing model drawing, let's say, it's wide enough to fill like a whole thigh. You know, I can make like a whole leg with a single brush stroke or two. You know, it depends how big you're working, how big your paper is. So if your paper's bigger and bigger, you need a bigger brush to hold more water so you don't dry up in the middle of a stroke. Okay, so this is a bigger brush. This would be what I call a size 10. And when I load this one with paint, hang on a second, I get an even bigger width. When I press harder, it gets really big and wide, and when I go light, I get much thinner line. And having that range of expression from thick to thin, to me is, you know, a great freedom. This is a dry brush effect over here. Can I zoom when I'm on live? You can see how it gets when it's dry. This is washier, which means it has more water mixed in. This is more opaque. There are a lot of irregularities in your gouache work, and that's what makes it look so quality and organic and rich. This is Bristol paper right now. It holds the paint much more beautifully than sketchbook paper will. See how rich it looks? And this is the way we love to work for fashion illustration. It's very fabric-like. It's thicker and warmer and fuzzier looking than watercolors, which tend to be more sheer. Now, so what we talked about, like a size 8 or 10 is really good for sketchbook. Remember, if you need a smaller tip, you're simply just not going to press very hard. Right? If you're, you know, whatever size shapes you're creating. But if you're, if you need to cover a wide area, you press hard and you get wide shapes to thin. So what I did in the samples that I did before I started was, you know, I went from thin. Black is the best way to feel this happen because it's so visible. Whereas if you use a light color, you're not going to feel it as much as when you use a dark color. You're not going to notice what's happening. All right, so I can use this for lines and for shapes. The other kind of brush I totally recommend. Oh, so, and here's another thing. I want to show you these brushes. I bought this set of inexpensive round watercolor brushes. I can't remember where I got them. What's the brand? I can't read it right now, sorry. But I want you to see the difference between this particular brush. By the way, this one has a really long handle. The others have short handles. I find the short handles to be more convenient. But like I said, this one's very stiff. This one is softer, but they all bounce back when I pull on them. Most of these are synthetic, which means they last longer. They're more inexpensive, but they're a little more clean looking. And the more expensive real sable brush is a little more like organic looking when you use it. But here's what I wanted to point out with this particular brush. Brushes have their own nuances. Every single brand is going to have its own character. This brush is actually difficult for me to use because do you see how it's much longer and pointier at the tip? So, you know, for good or for bad, it depends how much control I need or what I'm working on, but it has such a long, fine tip that the tip is literally like a hair, but I find it to be almost difficult to work with for that reason. It's like I almost want to snip 1/8 of an inch off the tip of it. And I have a whole set of those. You see, even the smaller one has that long tip. Now, aside from having just, so like I showed you a ton, but you only need one. I literally buy all the other ones just so that they have different feelings. Hello, Twitch. Hello, Marcelo. Hi, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Let me know if you have any questions. And then another brush that is great to have, and again, this is really inexpensive. Both of these are from Michaels. Okay, but these flat tipped brushes are great for creating not fashion illustrations, but like swatches. What you do is you make horizontal lines, and then you make vertical lines, and then you let it dry. It's called a wash brush. It's like a standard kind of a brush. And that's not very dark right now, but it's good for making. Oh, really? Your eyeliner brush is flat, but is it angled? I'm so curious to know. To be honest, every one of these brushes is like a makeup brush. Yes, it's so true. Good brushes are the bomb. And see, this is how you can make like a swatch, and then I could let it dry, and then I could paint on top of it. So it's really good for doing large flat areas, or let's say you're even painting like a background, or you want to design a fabric. So you're gonna like make a big flat area of color, and then you can use colored pencils on top. Stiffer and slightly angled. I knew it. I have one of those too. I love it. Okay, I forgot to pull it out, and now I have to wrap up in a minute because I have to go teach, but I told you this is like a size 10, and these other ones are like a size 8. It's nice sometimes to have a size 1 or 0, and those look kind of like, this is actually too small. I never use these, but a lot of people get, a small brush so that they can use it for details, like a lip and an eyebrow, little pad. Look, I get dirty so quick. Yeah, a lip, an eyebrow, or let's say you're doing a floral pattern, you do it on here. I'm not going to do anything on top of this right now because it's wet. So once this dries, I can work with colored pencils on top. I can work with paint on top, but always I have to wait for my base layer to dry. But your main point is to know that having a thick to thin brush is a powerful thing. Synthetic brushes are super inexpensive, like wicked inexpensive and fabulous. I love them. But some of them, if it's hard to push down, literally, this is hard for me to push down, then it's going to feel more like a marker. Let me show you what I mean. To me, that's how I describe it. It feels like a magic marker. Do you see what I mean? Yeah? Whereas other brushes are going to be more like they absorb, they hold more liquid. And there's a lot more I teach about this in my courses, but this is some stuff I could tell you. But you see how you can go from thick to thin. Cool. What's the other thing I wanted to say? So you may not want one that's stiff. You might want one that's softer, and that's for you to learn with experience. This is much softer again. Okay. And if it's a sable, thank you for your feedback. I love you so much. I appreciate that because it always helps me know what to share with you. And it gives me ideas for future videos and stuff. So I appreciate. Okay, and because of your support, I'm going to give you one bonus tip, even though I don't know what time it is. My secret weapon. Dun, 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 dun. They discontinued it, so I'm freaking out. It's the Utrecht Sablette 229, quote-unquote, lettering brush. Utrecht is where my supply kit comes from for Freedom Fashion. Sablette. Okay, it's a lettering brush, which means it's round-barreled, like I told you, but it's flat at the tip. Totally flat. What? And that's the coolest brush in the world, because if you load it with paint, and then, I didn't bring a towel. You take a paper towel or a napkin or a rag and you dry the base of it, which I'm literally not doing right now because I don't have a rag on me. I have fabric swatches, so I'm going to try to show you without even using the rag. But if you dry the base and leave the paint on the tips, you can get really fine lines. Hello. I mean, you can just think about how this is going to change your life when you're illustrating, yeah? for linens, for plaids, for herringbones, chevrons, twills like denim and stuff. Okay? I hope you enjoyed today's overview of brushes. This goes out to a special friend, Fashion Tribalista. Hi, Kathleen. I'll be back soon. We're just wrapping up. And hi, David. Oh, my gosh. We're just talking about you, David, about your new song. I wish you could put a link in here. New song about the border. I was talking to your dad not even an hour ago. Hang on, about that. And I can't wait to hear it. DavidRovics.com, maybe? Can we hear it there? Yeah. Okay, guys, I got to wrap up. Love to the kids. Thank you all. Oh, Rasta Doll, this is for you. This is your video. I'm getting off now, and you can watch it as soon as I'm done. And let me know if you have questions. This is your video, Sev. Talk to you later. Bye.